What's going on, everyone? It is Rollercoaster Encyclopedia here with my first YouTube video that's not a vlog. Welcome, everyone. So, today I want to look at the Six Flags chain, Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, as it is properly known. They are currently operating 26 full amusement parks. They also have other properties of water parks and resorts, but I'm not looking at those right now. So we're gonna try to clean up the chain, and we're gonna keep some parks. We're gonna sell or cease operation of other parks. There's two that are already gone, and then we're going to potentially buy some different parks at the end, and we're going to have a completely new and restructured Six Flags chain so that we can focus on the important parks like Cedar Point or Magic Mountain, because I think they're a little overstretched currently with the 26 parks, and some of them don't do that much or add that much to the chain, and I just think it would be better off putting the capital and resources and thought and time into these other parks. And I'm going to be coming at you with some different takes than what you'll normally hear. So don't think this is the typical, yeah, I'm just going to sell Michigan's Adventure and Great Escape and Frontier City because those are small parks and operate the rest. I've got some pretty bold takes here. Keep in mind that this is not in any way a prediction. This is just what I would do if I was in charge, and I went over some numbers with Twitter/X's AI Grok to make it somewhat realistic, and who knows if these numbers are good, but you know, I just try it. It's a fun concept. So let me know at the end what you think of my idea. So let's get started. So first we have, actually we're gonna go Six Flags America, already gone, and California's Great America, trying it right here, also already gone. So let's just get those right off the bat. Six Flags America is being sold to a real estate development company. It's already done. Operation is ending at the end of the 2025 season. I believe November 2nd, 2025 will be the last day. California's Great America is currently on a lease basis for the land, and the lease is ending in early 2028. And right now, 2027 is planned to be the final operating season/year for California's Great America. So those two are already gone. So let's get started otherwise. Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, we're keeping, because even though it's not the strongest park and you have the whole animals thing that's not really Six Flags forte and requires extra cost and capital, you want to keep that North California market. It's one of the biggest markets in the whole country, ton of money. So since California's Great America is already gone, we're keeping our one park there, and we're moving a lot of our talent and maybe some rides over from California's Great America to Discovery Kingdom. Wouldn't it be awesome to see Flight Deck replace Kong? I know completely different areas for the land needed, but I'm just saying that would be really, really awesome. Anyway, back to King's Dominion. We are very much keeping King's Dominion. We got rid of Six Flags America for the oversaturation in the Virginia and whole DMV area. And only competitor is Busch Gardens Williamsburg, so that's obviously a different chain. So we're keeping King's Dominion. Great park, does very well, so that's a definite keeper. Not much to explain there. Same thing goes for Canada's Wonderland. We are absolutely keeping Canada's Wonderland because this park is doing really great this year, even in a down year for the whole industry. Alpenfury has seen the park gain substantial attendance and profitability. So we're going to put tremendous assets into this. We're going to make this like Cedar Point 2 probably. Kind of weird since it's not too far from Cedar Point, but that's just the way things are going right now. Carowinds we're definitely keeping as well because the Southeast, that's the only share of the market they have besides the next park over Georgia, and Carowinds is far superior to over Georgia, so that's a definite keeper, and I personally in real life would like to see significant investment go in there because it's a bit of a drive for me, but it's not out of the realm of a weekend trip at all, and I would go there quite often if they improved it. It's already a good park, but needs a bit more. Like, let's RMC Hurler and let's put a New Age Woody in Nighthawk's plot. That would make that such a great park. Anyway, moving on. Six Flags Over Georgia, I personally would like to sell because if you've been there in 2025, the park is in a pathetic state. Like, the attendance is really bad. They went to weekend-only operations in the end of July, and operations there are just poor. Even though it's got the Atlanta market, it's not in a great location. It's like 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, off of a lot of really congested highways. All that being said, as much as I would like to sell it, we can't just give up the Atlanta metro market. And to be honest, because of the location, I don't even know that selling it would net the profit worth giving up that market. So we're keeping Six Flags Over Georgia, even though it is a borderline sell purely due to what I've seen in the 2025 season there. All right. So Michigan's Adventure is actually very profitable and very easy to run. And with the parks that are closing, we could maybe add some rides there and improve it a little. So just because we want to keep stuff that's profitable and easy to run, we're going to keep Michigan's Adventure. And if we make it, a good enough park, better than the state it's in, we can even try to market it as like, hey, go here after Cedar Point or Canada's Wonderland. So, surprise to some probably, I'm going to keep Michigan's Adventure. Six Flags St. Louis, we're going to sell. I'd love to keep this park because it's originally Six Flags over Middle America, and it's one of the original Six Flags parks and got a lot of history behind it, but we have to be realistic, and St. Louis is just not a good market to be in right now. And it's just low-hanging fruit in terms of the parks that we can get rid of to consolidate the chain and improve it. So it's got no like coaster that'll be severely missed outside of the Boss, and that's got plenty of haters too. Mr. Freeze would probably be scrapped, but maybe we could relocate that. You could relocate the Bat clone and the Boomerang and all the other clones they have there too. So yeah, that's going to be the first park we're putting on the sell list, Six Flags St. Louis. Six Flags Over Texas, we're keeping. It's going to become, in real life, and I would agree with this decision, a flagship of the chain. They're adding the B&M Giga Dive there for next year. That's really exciting. The Dallas market, I believe, is the 5th biggest market in America, and Texas just keeps growing. It's the original Six Flags Park, so there's a lot of history. I'm very excited for its future in real life, and in this hypothetical scenario, I am as well. Frontier City, we are selling the market share that, well, okay, we're not selling because this is one of the parks that they just lease the land and operate, like California's Great America. So we're ending operations there. It's just not worth it to continue, and if that park were to close, you can easily put a lot of that park's market share over to Six Flags Over Texas. It's a bit of a drive, but for some people, they could consider it a day trip or a weekend trip easily, but just kind of consolidating the market share there and getting rid of more low-hanging fruit. We're going to do the same thing for Six Flags Darien Lake because it's also a lease and operate situation, and I just feel like we could redirect that market share towards Cedar Point and Canada's Wonderland. They're not too far away, and again, we're just kind of getting rid of these lease and operate ones because we're focusing on what we actually own, and what we actually own that is, you know, profitable now and for the future, and that has potential to grow. So Cedar Point is obviously being kept. I mean, I don't really think I need to explain that for anyone. Six Flags Fiesta Texas is being kept. San Antonio is a huge market. There's a bit of competition with SeaWorld San Antonio and now Codaland opening in Austin, which is essentially the same market. So, yeah, there's good competition, but it is a huge market. I believe the sixth biggest in America if you combine San Antonio and Austin. And you just you can't cease that market. On top of that, Fiesta Texas has a wonderful reputation. It is considered one of the top tier parks in the legacy Six Flags chain, and I would assume that even with the legacy Cedar Fair parks now in tow, that it's going to continue to get a lot of love. I don't expect anything but a bright future for them with Jeffrey Siebert running the show now for Fiesta Texas and Over Texas. Kings Island, we're keeping. It may seem like a lot to have both Kings Island and Cedar Point in Ohio, but they're both such flagship and such famous parks that you can't get rid of them. And with the proper advertising and investment and ideas going forward, you could very much market like, hey, come to Ohio and come to Cedar Point and then drive 4 hours and come to Kings Island, and try to make some sort of vacation package with hotels in the area or something, combining the two. I don't know, but I mean, you could really turn it into like a Disney World, Universal type thing. I understand there's a bit of distance there, but it's an easy day drive between the two. So I just think they're missing out on a marketing by not combining the market share of them more. But either way, Kings Island is easily being kept. La Ronde is another lease and operate, and we're getting rid of that easily. Montreal is just so far off. The park isn't anything special and hasn't gotten a new addition in quite a long time, and I just don't see it as a great strategy for the long term to stay with that park. So now, if you notice, I've been skipping Dorney Park because I'm waiting to get to Great Adventure next to it. So Great Adventure and Dorney Park essentially serve the same market and have a lot of overlap. So if you were going to get rid of one, most people would say Dorney Park. However, I'm going to just go crazy here, and this is going to be the big hot take of the video. I am going to sell Great Adventure. The land value and what you could get for Great Adventure is so much higher than Dorney, and Dorney has a lot of space to work with currently. You can move a lot of capital and rides over from Great Adventure to improve Dorney. So in this scenario, I'm kind of just going to make Dorney Park a super park to serve Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York, that whole tri-state and Pennsylvania area, because we're just going to go balls to the wall competing with Hershey Park and Kennywood and Knoebels. We're going to just take all the best of Great Adventure and put it in Dorney. And I just feel like Dorney's got so much history as a trolley park that, and it's such a beautiful location in Allentown that you just can't get rid of it. But there's so much overlap with Great Adventure, and you need to get rid of one in this scenario for me. So as crazy as it sounds, I am keeping Dorney and getting rid of Great Adventure. Moving on, we're keeping Six Flags Great America. Pretty easy decision. You got the Chicago market. I mean, it's the third biggest market in America, and it's got a lot of good rides at the park and can only be improved with greater focus from getting rid of these other parks. Same with Magic Mountain. It's the most famous and flagship legacy Six Flags park. So it's an easy decision. It's like the equivalent of if we were going to get rid of Cedar Point. On top of that, it's serving Los Angeles, the second biggest market in the country, a major center of the world, pretty much. So that's an easy decision to keep Magic Mountain. I don't think I need to explain much. We're going to sell Six Flags Mexico. We saw with the whole Vekoma tilt coaster that eventually became Siren's Curse at Cedar Point that there's a lot of issues dealing with this park in getting new great attractions in there. So you're kind of limited on the potential of the park. They're adding a Vekoma Family Boomerang next year. It's a very poor consolation prize for the tilt coaster. Again, I don't see in real life them moving off this park, but for me, I just wouldn't want to deal with the local government and the issues they have there. I don't know exactly how this works, but I would assume there's less profitability at the park due to the exchange rate. I read that the Gold Pass with the All Park Pass during the MVP sale right now converts to only $51 American. So I'm not sure how it works, because maybe the operating costs are way lower and the employee labor cost is way lower, but I just can't see that the park is insanely profitable when you're dealing with pesos. Here's another controversial one. I'm going to sell Six Flags New England. A lot of the locals yearn for the Riverside Park days and aren't very happy with Six Flags management of this park. And it's just not a great park overall, in my opinion. The whole thing is clones. The majority of the park, besides the DC area, which is pretty nice, but the rest of the park just looks like a carnival with blacktop, pretty much. I just think that this park would be better off being sold. And I also just think this park's potential is severely limited, because if you see the restraints that the state government forces on Superman the Ride, you can kind of understand why there's not a lot of major high thrill attractions that have been added here. I don't know if Superman's just going to be a special case, or if any other major ride would get neutered by extra restraints. But yeah, it's just not worth the headache of the big government, state government of Massachusetts to deal with, and I think this park would be better off being run by somebody else. This would actually be a good Herschend park in my opinion, but I don't think that's realistic at all. But anyway, in my hypothetical, I'm selling it. Great Escape we are keeping. Very profitable small park, much like Michigan's Adventure. On top of that, getting rid of Six Flags New England, we can take some of their market share for New England there. Also, this operates as a resort with an indoor water park, so you can have a year-round money coming in, unlike pretty much the entire rest of the chain. Valley Fair, it's hard to sell this as it's one of the original Cedar Fair parks. The chain was named from combining Cedar Point and Valley Fair's names in a merger, giving us Cedar Fair that eventually took over all these other parks. I just don't see the point in continuing this park. It hasn't gotten any substantial investment. It's not a great market. The market you do have can be put over into parks like Cedar Point, Michigan's Adventure, and Six Flags Great America. I just don't see the point in continuing. So sell it and bank off the money. Worlds of Fun we are going to keep because we sold Six Flags St. Louis and we want to keep a Missouri park. Now, it's a smaller park and it does have some Midwest overlap with the others, but I just don't want to give up on the Missouri market entirely, and Kansas City is a growing market, so there's potential for the future. As it stands in real life, it probably would be closer to being sold than kept if they were really selling off this many parks, but for my hypothetical, I'm keeping it. Final park in the chain, we have Knott's Berry Farm, and we're keeping this because this is just a great park, serves the Los Angeles area. Yeah, there's a lot of overlap with Magic Mountain, but Los Angeles and Southern California is absolutely big enough to handle both the parks. They're in very different locations too for the area, about like an hour to an hour and a half apart. So yeah, just why get rid of such a great and profitable park? So our current chain, after being sold, consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 parks. So we're getting rid of 10. We're getting rid of Six Flags St. Louis, Frontier City, Six Flags Darien Lake, Luron, Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags Mexico, Six Flags New England, and Valley Fair. And already being sold off are Six Flags America and California's Great America. Now, some of the math we have for the potential savings and money and capital coming into the corporation from selling these parks or ceasing to operate them. So we have some estimates. The savings of ceasing to operate California's Great America, Luron, Darien Lake, and Frontier City would be $1.32 billion over 10 years. Now, it's kind of a give and take because you're actually going to lose. The median was $1.01 billion of profit from not operating these parks and not having the revenue they generate. So technically, you're actually only going to save $300 million, give or take. But we're not looking at that. We're looking at the cash on hand that it frees up just for the immediate like future and funding to either pay off debt or buy another park or put investment into the park. So we free up 1.32 billion just ceasing to operate those parks from selling Six Flags St. Louis. Now, I'm not including the cash on hand and revenue loss and all that like I just did for the ceasing to operate. I'm also not including any sale of potential rides. I'm just gonna give the value of the likely money coming in from the land being sold, of the rest of the parks being sold. So for Six Flags St. Louis, we have 25 million of land value. Six Flags New England, 50 million. Valley Fair, we have 25 million. Six Flags Great Adventure, 88 million. Six Flags Mexico, 22 million. And from closing Six Flags America and selling that land I completely understand from what I've read and researched for this about why they sold that park right off the bat, because its proximity to DC, and it's also got a ton of unused land they have there as well. That's netting them 175 million. I mean, think about that. St. Louis and Valley Fair are only 25 million apiece. Six Flags America, which isn't even a great park for them, is going to get them 175 million. So I totally understand why they did that. So combining all of that, we have 385 million from the land sales, and we have 1.32 billion from the savings of ceasing to operate the other parks. So that's going to give us a grand total of 1.705 billion of money to play with. Now, most of this should go into investment in these parks. However, if you take a lot of the rides from these parks and use that as investment, you're going to save some money. Obviously, you're not going to put used rides at some of these like Cedar Point, but Michigan's Adventure, I mean, let's say they stopped operating Laron and moved Goliath, the hypercoaster, to Michigan's Adventure. That's a huge hit there. Anyway, my plan, though, to really supercharge this and make this an amazing chain and get in on the Florida market, the estimated cost for buying Busch Gardens Tampa is 1.1 billion. So we're going to take that 1.7 billion and change. We're going to take 1.1 billion of it and we're going to buy Busch Gardens Tampa Bay. And we're going to create just an amazing chain. We're going to have the Northeast covered with Dorney Park and Great Escape. We're going to have Canada covered with Canada's Wonderland. We're going to have the DMV with King's Dominion, NorCal, Discovery Kingdom, Missouri, and some of those parts of the Midwest, Worlds of Fun, other parts of the Midwest, and kind of like a combination with Cedar Point, Michigan's Adventure, Kings Island for that combo with Cedar Point. Also, I talked about over Texas and Fiesta Texas for the giant Texas markets. Six Flags Great America for the Chicago market. Magic Mountain and Knott's Berry Farm for the Los Angeles and Southern California markets. Carowinds and Over Georgia for the southeastern markets. And then Busch Gardens Tampa for the Florida markets. You got to keep the Busch Gardens name. I don't know how they'll incorporate Six Flags into that somehow. I don't know. They haven't done that with a lot of the Cedar Fair parks, so I don't know. And then this is more just even hypothetical of the hypothetical, but if there was if they were doing really well and profitable with this new chain and consolidation, maybe you could buy Elitch Gardens again too. It was Six Flags Elitch Gardens, 99 to 2006. It's run by Premier Parks. I'm sure they would be happy to sell it. Denver is a great market that I feel is sorely lacking in the amusement park and coaster lineup. So I just feel like that'd be a good investment if you could maybe move some of the coasters from these parks there as well. So yeah, this is our final Six Flags chain. We have 17 parks, 16 current ones, and then we're adding Busch Gardens Tampa. Maybe we'll add Elitch Garden for the 18th park too. But yeah, that's what I would do with the Six Flags chain if I was Richard Zimmerman. Well, no longer Richard Zimmerman after 2025. Thank God. Anyway, thank you for watching. I know that was a mouthful, but I had a lot to say about that subject. And please subscribe. And thank you, as always, for your support. And keep watching. Stay tuned. A lot of exciting stuff always happening here at Roller Coaster Encyclopedia.